have dragons? I'll give you one.
Welcome back to Heroes and Whiskey. We are 3D printing our way through the D&D Monster Manual, and today we are printing monster number 69, the Ancient Brass Dragon. So this is the spot where the white dragon would normally be, but we've got a special white dragon reveal coming up in a few weeks. So today we have this awesome brass dragon from Lord of the Print. Now, I mentioned back in the Red Dragon episode that for all of the exceptional talent that they pour into their dragons, occasionally Lord of the Print creates one that feels more like the statue of a dragon, more than one that you would play on your tabletop, and that's certainly the case with this brass dragon. Now, don't get me wrong, this sculpt is amazing. It captures the characteristic ear, shields, or whatever those things are, and the massive tail of a brass dragon beautifully. It is very faithful to the design in the manual. But it is just kind of standing still. And so if it's intended to be your final battle in your adventure, it's not exactly menacing or terrifying the way that some of the others have been. But still, it is a beautiful design. Of course, the brass dragons are a bit unique in that rather than dominating countrysides, they love conversation. So maybe that's why Lord of the Print didn't make this guy quite as aggressive as some of the others. I love the description in the manual where characters wake up to find themselves pinned by a claw or buried in sand while the dragon attempts to have a conversation. And so maybe this guy isn't the final battle, but he shows up midpoint in the adventure to reveal some key information to your party. And it's more a battle of wits, and maybe your party can even convince him to fight on their behalf. It's just a really interesting monster to include. So unfortunately for this guy, he caught me during a printer upgrade, and so he has the rare distinction of being the only model in this entire series printed on 4 different printers, 2 FDM and 2 Resin. And unfortunately, he paid the price a little bit. Most of the seams, like this one on the wing here, they actually came out looking pretty good. But then there's others, like this main tail juncture. You can actually see light through it. And so it's almost like they're designed for 2 different models. The fit is just not very good. I also had an issue with his front claw here. You probably can't really tell, but the tip of his claw didn't print, and so I ended up transplanting a claw from another dragon that I had lying around. Also, I made the mistake of printing his body in FDM, so it's quite light, but the tail is in resin, and the tail, as you can see here, is massive, and so overall the whole dragon is really imbalanced. It's really back heavy. And so it actually, I had to glue down to the base for the purpose of filming, but it just backed off and, tipped back and broke through the glue. So granted, most of these errors are mine. It is a beautiful model. The pieces that were printed in resin really look fantastic, like the head here. But this might be one that I would be more inclined to paint up as a decoration, maybe versus using it as an in-game enemy. As with the other dragons, he is huge. He starts 8 feet off the ground and goes up another 20. Its wingspan is about 15 inches in real life, so it's not exactly the easiest to travel with. And even looking at this photo and the perspective of your characters, I think the pose is more designed to inspire awe than dread. In terms of time to print, I did his head and tail in resin and everything else FDM, but still was a pretty efficient print for these dragons at least. He took about 51.5 hours, and he does only cost $16, which is really incredible for a figure of this size and quality. So we are now at $657 and about 30 minutes short of 27 full days of printing. So if you need a stately brass dragon, this one from Lord of the Print is amazing. Just be strategic about how you print him because he's easily unbalanced. Next up, we've got the pescatarian of the dragon world, the bronze dragon.